There's something that I've wished to tell you, Zagreus. There is no shame in your upbringing. Many of us on Olympus, we likewise were born and raised under the strangest circumstances. Someday I'll have to tell you about mine.
I sense that something is the matter, son of Hades. Speak then. What is on your mind? I can decipher some of it without your telling, but I would rather hear it from you voluntarily.
Master Chaos, the goddess Nyx, she seems to want to speak with you again. I wonder, would you maybe contact her sometime? She seems convinced it is your move to make if you so choose.
The goddess Nyx wishes to hear from me. Now that is unexpected, son of Hades, and I wonder if perhaps this is a jest of yours. Though your intentions evidently are sincere, then I shall make no promises in this, except that I am considering the possibility.
Hello again there, little godling. Let's get to it, I want what you want. There's no further need for words.
How goes it with old Master Thanatos of late, Prince Zed? Is he at least less stern with you than with the poor mortals he's sent to take in here?
Oh, Thanatos is doing all right. Much like my father, I think he feels he has some sort of fearsome reputation to uphold. Or maybe he's perpetually stressed over his work. But he's been well lately.
That's good, I guess. Always appreciated that he ultimately took me in, rather than having to show up here through much more sudden, much more painful means. Didn't stop me from trying to avoid the trip, of course.
Sometimes a conversation with a friend is its own reward, isn't that right, Baldy? Cheers. Please be Meg. Oh, great.
I thought I'd never get some quiet time again, you know, Red Blood? That damned pact you stupidly agreed to, making me work with my sisters again. I'll get you for that.
I'm sensing a pattern that it really doesn't take much for you to have something to get me for, does it?
Oh, that's rich. How smart of you. You're smart. You know what? I'll get you for that, too.
Message for you, Lord Hermes. It says, this offering is dedicated to the incomparable god of swiftness, from whom the news is always good because he's bringing it. You are a real mate, you know that? I really owe you one, Zagreus.
Look, House, I'm going to accept this choice ambrosia from you one last time, all right? But from this point, I'm doubling down on all professional responsibilities here. Strictly business between us, although secretly, you're one of my best mates. Want you to know. You know that saying, don't be hasty, boss? That comes from me, I swear. A little way to stave off competition, masquerading as the wisdom of a sage. Those stupid mortals will buy anything.
Hey, look at that. The message must have worked. Practically can see that shiny bow from here. I've never wielded Coronacht myself, at least not yet. Though, if the fates are sending visions to me of its past or future bearers, why, I guess I'm bound to get my shot eventually.
Just the ingredient I needed, hun. Thank you so much. You know, you weren't near as bad as I'd heard.
Oh, don't worry, we're still getting to know each other. Plenty of time for me to live up to my notorious reputation. Though I'm surprised you've heard of me at all. Look, Eurydice, I promise not to bother you with this each time, but you should know your husband's shattered by what happened with the two of you. He's genuinely sorry, and he loves you very deeply still, I'm sure of it.
And what am I supposed to do with that, Your Royal Majesty?
I don't know yet. Though you know what? You shouldn't take my word for it. You should take his.
Don't think I'll be running into him anytime soon, from what I understand. But you're the Hades kid. You want to pull some strings on our behalf? Go right ahead, I guess. But I won't hold my breath. Even if I could.
You know, I thought you'd say that, Charon, mate, but I insist you take it and enjoy, all right? Charon, Hermes told me that the other Olympians are unaware he's lending his support to me. I'm curious to know what's going on. Thinking of asking Nyx. Figured I'd check with you first. I'll keep it to myself for now, then. Thanks.
caution, little nephew. Never turn your back against the sea. And while you're at it, never take up sides against your greatest uncle.
I'm sorry, Uncle.
All right, no need to fight about this any longer, don't you think, nephew? Here, take my blessing like you should have in the first place.
Something's amiss.
Death has come. Hope you don't mind if I cut in here, Zagreus.
There is but one thing I shall give to you, blackguard. Other than the razor-sharp point of my blessed spear, you are resilient. Time after time you challenge us. Sometimes I fear I shall develop some sort of grudging respect for you.
I've no such fear myself, Theseus, though I appreciate you noticing. You're quite an inspiration, you know. I wouldn't come all this way to destroy just anyone.
To be destroyed, you mean? I see you, plain monster. You seek the glory of this fight before this crowd. You yearn for it. Then you shall have it, just as often as you please.
The riverboatman Charon is beholden to your father's realm, but seems agreeable enough for a fair price.
Each violent countenance of Cerberus agrees the satyr sack must be destroyed.
See you, boy. We're here, Coronacht. May you serve Rama well, if you haven't already done so, I guess.
The bow is the weapon of a coward, boy. I said so even to Hera's face. I'm unsurprised that you are drawn to it, and yet something has changed about it. I can tell.
What, you mean that Coronacht has taken on the aspect of a divine preserver person of some sort, of whom I've seen mere glimpses, but seems definitely very capable and really rather brave?
I know not why the old infernal arms endear themselves to you, and I entirely care not in whose weakling aspect you bring them forth, only to fall to me.
The often dying prince, having achieved his purpose, then reflects upon his life and deeds, remembering his many past demises with such vivid clarity that this occurs.
Mr. Hypnos, I wanted to check in with you again regarding the procession line that's right in front of you, right over there. It's moving pretty slow.
I know! Those shades, they just go on and on and on and on forever, blathering about this or that. I mean, Lord Hades, it's a wonder he can stand it, listening to them every day or night.
Well, it's just, I think you were supposed to keep things moving, so if they're taking too long, I guess maybe you could say something, or any bright ideas?
It's a toughie, Dusa, because I think it's important that the shades who wait their turn, why, that they get a chance to say their piece. But it's a real tricky situation you bring up, so let me tell you what I'm gonna do. I am going to sleep on it, and then get back to you.
Okay, well, if you don't, though, I'll check in with you again later, I guess, because I'm under orders, so, bye.
Goodbye.
Over here. Answer me something, Zagreus. What am I to you exactly, as of late? Because sometimes with you,
I'm sometimes at a loss myself, Thanatos. Though one thing I know is it's always really good running into you out there. It's, well, exciting. Sparring with you and all that. And then I know it means that I might get to see you here.
Well, here I am. But you didn't answer my question. Though you know something, forget I asked. I've got to go.
Wait.
I must confess, I do enjoy having a good bottle of nectar every now and then. And you appear to have a careful eye for such bottles, from what I can tell.
My careful eye has got to be the green one, hasn't it? To having a discerning eye, Mother.
Nyx has a very steady presence, doesn't she? I want to say she hasn't changed a bit since before you were born, but I know that she's been through a lot.
She's always managed, and quite gracefully at that. Never seen her break a sweat over anything, even when I confronted her about you. Though you two seem closer than I realized, I think.
Well, your father isn't always the conversationalist, and Nyx, she was the first chthonic god I ever met. I suppose she welcomed having another lady about the house.
I'm sure she did. Always wanted to ask you something, Father. Whose skull is that there on your shoulder? If it's not too personal.
I did not chronicle all Typhon's wretched offspring, boy. No one did. Some of them sit upon our shoulders now, lest we forget that things could easily have turned out rather differently, and much, much worse.
So these are just the remains of the spawn of the most hideous monstrosity of all time, which you and your brother slew, got it? I guess putting the dead in their place is all part of the job. I can hardly imagine what it was like before you and the Olympians took charge.
You're better off.
Hello there. I must confess something to you, my friend. My mind still wanders to Eurydice quite often, and my memories of her, despite my best attempts to move along with my existence here. I would call it a fatal flaw, except I am already dead.
Don't torture yourself, mate. You've been through enough, as has she. You still care for one another, just don't have a way to get the point across. But I have an idea.
I too once had ideas, Zagreus. Ideas and inspirations. It was so very wonderful to have a muse.
I know. Nyx, you've known Megara practically forever. Well, before my time at least. So could you tell me more about what she was like back then?
I am pleased to see the two of you on better terms of late. Megara always was as she appears. Dutiful and quite particular. Thoughtful and dependable. Respectful.
Respectful. Definitely. I have to ask you for a favor, Meg. And I'm willing to make it worth your while if you'll hear me out.
A proposition, Zagreus. Let's hear it then, while I'm in a charitable mood.
It's about Sisyphus. If I can get my father to alleviate his sentence, would you just ease off of him a little bit? You and your sisters. I think he's suffered quite enough under your whips.
I don't know what you see in him, I swear. But you don't need to ask such things of me. If you can overturn his sentence with Lord Hades, I'd like nothing better than to never see that miserable shade again.
It's a deal.
Boyo! You want another piece of this or what?